What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, but it's not 2023. It is 2024. Happy New Year, everyone, wrestling fans and everyone alike. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a ton of stuff, fun stuff to break down. It is actually Monday, January 21st. 2024, a Mailbag Monday. We've got a letter. We've got multiple letters. I'm excited to get into it. And if we're gonna answer some questions from the fans, I'm gonna need an absolutely stacked panel. Let's start first. Out in Philadelphia, he got his New Year's 3 hours before me. He's also our head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. How are you doing on this New Year's Day, 2024?
Doing good. I'm glad that, to be on the first one of 2024. And I'm excited to cover our mailbag topics.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get into it as well. Let's head out to Florida, but originally from the New York, New Jersey area, as we know. Our good friend Bret Sternberg. Happy New Year. How are you doing? Good to have you as always.
How's everyone? Hope everyone's having a great New Year. This is Bernie. Hope everyone, he's saying hi. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's start this new year fresh and let's have a positive new year. Everyone, please.
Absolutely. Let's do. And before we do that, most importantly, and not most importantly above everyone else, but I just had a bad camera cut. I gotta call myself out on that. But I obviously, when you get the Tuesday Night Delight on a Monday, he deserves the full intro. All the way out in the DMV. Shad, Happy New Year. How are you doing today?
Throw them twos up for the Tuesday Night Delight. I'm doing well, bro. Happy New Year's to y'all. To all the people in the comment section, please don't kill me a lot this week. On Instagram, y'all are very rude on there to me, most importantly. And I think we should start on a positive note. So let's get into it.
I love it. I mean, it's all in good fun here. We got number one Superfly in the comments here with Happy New Year. Happy New Year, number one. Superfly, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in all the time. We got a couple of comments over on Instagram. We've got a Happy New Year from last week in Wrestling Pod. We've also got a Happy New Year from Babatunde, aka Dabakato. And then we got a go straight forward to the point from Coolish Male fan page. And then he also commented, would you just hit the nail by its head already?
He seemed to not like introduction. Sorry.
That is a lack of patience there, my friend. Good on you, but we'll get there eventually. And then we got another one. Happy New Year from the On the Sidelines podcast. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all. And we got another one here from John _ and then I believe either the number one or the letter I capitalized, which is MJF will be back. I do agree with that. But today is Mailbag Monday. So we got to get in to Mailbag Monday. We've got mail. We've got to answer it. We've got another one from White Catastaros. What's up, guys, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Okay, let's get into the mailbag. Jose99 asked us an excellent question here. Who do you want to see make a surprise appearance in the Royal Rumble? We've all kind of talked about this pre-show and broken it down. For me, I think on the women's side, I'm going to go there first. I think Mickie James once again. I loved Hardcore Country last time. I loved bringing the Impact title. I think there's no reason not to have Mickie James in the Rumble once again. I think Mickie James is an all-time legend in both WWE and pro wrestling as a whole. And I would love to see Mickie in the ring for this year's Rumble. Second, this is going to be a funny one because a lot of people have speculated on this dude going elsewhere. I think Dolph Ziggler needs to be in the men's Rumble, and I think Dolph Ziggler's not only re-signed, but this is used as a opportunity to push him further than he had been in these most recent stale years. Us as hardcore fans are all very aware of how good Dolph Ziggler is. Sometimes you need to be reminded, and absence does make the heart grow fonder. And that's where I believe you put him in, have a good showing. He's immediately inserted back into the upper mid card and actually has an opportunity to show how truly talented he is. With that, though, I am going to toss this one to you, Anthony. Who do you have and who are your two picks to make a surprise appearance in this year's Royal Rumble?
I mean, I'm not going to go to the go-to expected one, which I think a lot of people want to put MJF in there. But for me, being realistic, I think there's a good chance Matt Cardona makes his return to the company, especially with his wife being there. I think there's a good chance that he makes a return, even if it's just a one-off for the night. For the women's, also tied to Chelsea, would be Deonna Purrazzo. I think she's one of the hottest free agents that's going to be in the market. And I could totally see WWE bringing her in for the Rumble.
Absolutely. I hear you there. I like both picks. I'm going to go to you next, Bret. Who are your two picks? Who do you have? Surprise entrance in the Rumble.
Okay. First off, I didn't make a mistake on the mute button. Happy New Year. It's new year, new me. I'm just trying. I'm trying here, So anyway, on the women's side, this is a dream shot, I guess, from what I'm looking at in the landscape of things right now, what has been trademarked. I would love to see Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, whatever she wants to go as. It's probably going to be Sasha Banks. Come back on the women's side. I would love that. Absolutely love that. She would get the biggest pop probably on the women ever, in my opinion, other than maybe Becky when she came back. But at the same time, on the men's side, considering that there's no, if the contract does expire and there's no 90-day compete clause, I would say I think it would be a smart decision, and I think it would be the right decision to bring Andrade in on for the Royal Rumble. Since Charlotte he's heading there anyway. We all know that. Since Charlotte is injured, have her be his manager. It's perfect. It works out perfectly, in my opinion. So I think Andrade and then hopefully Sasha Banks, but she just trademarked a bunch of stuff. So I could see her just doing something on the indie scene as well.
You never know. You never know. Either or. That's what's interesting now is we've got this whole, obviously we've expressed our beliefs on where MJF's going, right? But Sasha Banks is out there and could sign almost anywhere at any time. It's interesting. The free agent pool currently seems to be more stacked than it's been in a long time. And that'll be fascinating to see how it plays out. Shad, I got to get your two picks as well, though, for both the men's and women's. Who do you have in this spot?
So we all know the Royal Rumble is a fun opportunity to get the pops as fans. The live crowd loves it. And WWE heavily leans on nostalgia acts for it. So I'm gonna give my two nostalgia acts, and I'll also sprinkle in a person that I would like to see who may be a free agent appear at the Rumble. But the first one I'm gonna go with is on the women's side with TNA working on the same umbrella with an upcoming streaming deal, and we've seen TNA work with WWE, like you mentioned last year with Mickie James. Why not bring in another former women's competitor that used to be in the WWE a little back ago and who's put a lot of groundwork on the TNA Impact Wrestling side, and that is Gail Kim. I think Gail Kim, she wrestled not too long ago. She's looks like she's in great shape. She is a women's wrestling legend. I think that'd be a pretty big pop, and I think that'd bring another, wow moment that occurred like when Mickie James came out. So I'll go with Gail Kim on the women's side. On the male side, man, this is someone who I've seen also wrestle on the Indies last year, who is up there, but he could still do a little bit. And I feel like it being in the Royal Rumble setting would be beneficial for him and be fun for him. And that's Mr. X-Pac, Mr.
Oh,
123 Kid. I think, with Triple H being the head honcho at WWE now, why not bring in one of his old DX buddies in X-Pac? I think X-Pac is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. A lot of people feel different from the crowd that you would have heard back in the day, but I think that's one that get the crowd super amped up. His old song, a classic. I think that'd be great. If I was to pick a young person that may be a potential person that may come into the WWE, women, Jay Cargill. I feel like that's an obvious answer, right? It may not be that big of a surprise, but having her debut at the Royal Rumble will be good. And I would like to see Mr. Leo Rush come back to the WWE. I think him debuting at the Royal Rumble, he's a phenomenal wrestler. And I think you have an open spot for him to line back with Bobby Lashley in a different manner, but him kind of being the talking piece for the new improved hurt business, adding a different flair to it. I would like to see Leo Rush come back to WWE. As he mentioned, he wants to make a splash and find a home with a bigger league, whether it be WWE. I don't know if the bridge is burned in AEW or if TNA, but Leo Rush will be an interesting one as well.
I do truly enjoy that. Those are some great picks that you broke down there too. Like, I mean, this is one that's just so fun. That's what makes the Royal Rumble so great in my eyes. And we got a few comments over here on Instagram. I'm going to run through a few. Final Happy New Year's. We had a John Michael 9803 who wished us a Happy New Year from Australia, my friends. Happy New Year as well from America here. I guess with us four, but in the UK as well from Western Republic as a whole. And then we had even coolish male fan page wished us a cool-tastic New Year. Happy New Year, my friend. Thank you for commenting as always. Then we had a few suggestions. We had from White Castros over on Instagram, Cardona, Heath Slater, and Wade Barrett. We also had John Michael 9803 with Dolph is brilliant. And then we had White Castros with Sean Spears at entrant 10. Yeah,
I like Sean Spears a lot, but I don't think that's one that's gonna.
I think
you wouldn't waste a spot for him.
Well, they do that. They
won it. I'm sorry.
All of those are fascinating. We got another comment from our good friend Bobby Petito. Happy New Year, Bobby Petito.
Oh, yeah, Bobby.
And then he added he'd like to see Deonna Purrazzo and Alex Hammerstone, those are two fun names. I dig it. I don't hate it. Numero One Superfly though here said, and similarly over on Instagram, he said who I'd like to see for the men's Rumble: Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, and maybe Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett would be fun.
It's been a while since we've had an announcer get up commentating a match and getting in the Rumble. It has been a few years.
What would kind of be cool is if they hit the bad news music.
That would be kind of crazy.
And as he stands up and takes the headset off, I would enjoy.
Can I say one thing though?
Of course.
So to numero one, Superfly, to me NXT names aren't as surprising to be in the Royal Rumble.
Because they're already under contract.
Yeah, they're under contract, and we see them a lot. So that's a big reason why I'm not naming them. I love all the people that he named. I think Cora Jade, Braun, Carmelo would be great too. That's why I didn't. AJ Lee though, that is one that a lot of people in the comments are saying.
Yes.
Getting to mention.
Okay,
she wants to wrestle.
Finally, have the name right over in the Instagram comments from it's White Catastros or Catastros. But he mentioned nobody has spoken about AJ Lee yet. Yeah. That's a good point too. That would be fascinating if AJ Lee makes an appearance in the Rumble.
Her and Punk making their returns in the Rumble would make a lot of sense.
AJ Lee would break the arena in the smithereens of her music.
If she came out, I almost think she'd have to come out as 30. Like if she came back, I think she'd probably be 30.
Put her at like a 27 and then make her like last in the final three.
The biggest pop's always 30 though.
Is she
28 to 30 for sure. Yeah.
The question is she gonna skip
100%.
Serena, though?
We have a few more comments. We have another one from Ayush Tripathi, Unique King. What do you guys think about the India guys? I mean, honestly, love them.
I'm from
love them.
Bangladesh. That's my neighbors, man.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. On the show, I'm
Great
not
Khali.
sure
Let's get him back.
as
That
far
would
as
be
the
crazy.
debut conversation is concerned. Yeah, but shout out. Absolutely, I do believe that what Indashare is doing can turn into something great and an amazing amount of talent and great for wrestling because it's a great fan base.
They need to lean in on Indashare.
Coolish Mill fan page said, "Feed me more Ryback." That is insane.
No,
Yeah,
that won't happen. I am confident. I am confident.
By the way,
to never say that. Never say never.
Insane.
Coolish Mail fan page has had some great comments, but that is a swing and a miss.
That's so funny.
Ryback versus CM Punk WrestleMania.
Oh man, that is funny. By the way, why Catastros got me on the Castro's easier to say. Thank you, man. My friend, it was a mess up. I'm sorry.
We'll just change his name. That makes it easier just to change the name.
He's getting a lot of publicity right now.
Someone threw out a what if John Moxley returns in the Rumble, that's funny. We do have to laugh at that one.
Yeah.
While we're on it, I mean you can't not.
Not this Rumble, not any coming up. Maybe like down the road, but
10 years.
Mox is in a great place in AEW, and
he's happy
leading the way for that company. So yeah,
we do have we have another question to get to, but before that, we do have another comment from Ayush Tripathi, Unique King. Who will defeat Roman Reigns? Pick one, please. I think we all kind of did that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Cody.
Tune in. A lot of people have picked Cody.
They just teased it in WWE's Instagram too. They were like, finish the story with the whole New Year's resolution thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go based on that though.
Okay. By the way, also before I finally introduce the next topic, what Catastros, please actually send me like phonetically how to say it so I get it right, because I love that and I appreciate the humor, but like I will never mess it up again, I promise. Okay.
You're 50-50 with me, but okay.
Okay. So yeah, I nail Anthony's name like half the time. Yep. But let's talk about our next question, which is from @TrezTube. This is one's for Anthony, which is the opinion on Samoa Joe winning the AEW World Championship. How do you feel about AEW taking the title? Obviously, it's been 15 years or 16 years, 15 years since he last won a world title in 2008.
TNA.
It's a big accomplishment if you're a longtime Samoa Joe fan. Anthony and I both go way back, not to shout out our age, but you know what I mean. Been out
we
there.
Do host Throwback.
This is generally speaking kind of an older show, but yeah. Anthony, your thoughts on Samoa Joe taking the world title?
Even though Samoa Joe took the title now, probably because Adam Cole's injured and couldn't take it himself, I'm completely fine with this. When Joe challenged at Grand Slam, that vicious killer Joe leading into it, I was completely fine if Joe took the title. I've always been a big Joe fan. He's probably, I think he is the only guy to have Ring of Honor, TNA, NXT, and now AEW world titles to his credit. Even though I know NXT is not technically a world title, but still, he's the only one to have those. It makes sense to give it to him. Nobody knows what's going on with MJF, whether he re-signed, whether he's just taking time off. Nobody really knows, but we know for a fact that he's at least technically not under contract to AEW as far as we know, and taking time off. So you had to get the belt off of him, and they did it convincingly. Like there was no outside interference. He, was submitted cleanly. It was nicely done. I don't know if Joe is going to be a transitional champion, or if he's going to hold it for a while, waiting for Max's return. I don't. That's going to be the interesting part. But Joe is the type of talent that can carry that title as long as the company needs him to hold it. and convincingly and do it well. So I am completely fine if they want to do a long reign with him.
Absolutely. I dig it. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And we've got our next question here coming up. We've got who will be WWE's breakout star in 2024, which is It's Me Protect with like a lot of critique with a lot of K's, but this one's for Shad. Who is the breakout star of 2024 in the WWE, Shad?
So to me, I think a lot of people are gonna get confused with who's the breakout star, and it may be tied to who will be a young up and coming star, maybe someone probably from NXT. But we've seen in the last couple years, last year primarily, two stars that broke out. One, Sami Zayn. He's been in the fold. He's been in the mid card title reign for a while, and then Jay Uso, who's been a historical tag team champion. So it doesn't always have to be someone uber young. It doesn't always have to be an NXT person who makes a meteoric rise on the main roster, becomes the next best thing. I think it's going to be similar to uh, the latter part of what I said earlier with someone who's been in position for a while. And I think it's going to come from the women's side. I think 2024 is the year that we will see Bailey transcend on the women's roster. I know that there's, news that she just signed an extension and is very well deserved. I think the years of her being very selfless will come in fruition. And I think we're going to see Bailey become a mega baby face all over again. It fits in perfect timing and unfortunate situations. Obviously, with Charlotte being out, they need to have a person on SmackDown to kind of carry that women's division on her back. And there isn't anyone better to do it than Bailey at this point. I feel that we'll get this storyline with her and Damage Control to continue throughout the early part of this year. She may be a Royal Rumble winner. We're going to see steps and steps where the fans are going to get behind Bailey, wanting to you know, get past the dominant faction that seems to want to be against her, even though she created it. And we're gonna get a different rendition of how the fans loved her as a babyface prior to when we had the tree hugger gimmick. It's gonna be a different type of character to it, but it's gonna be something great. And I really do feel that this is gonna be Bailey's year, and we're gonna see her get her mania moment too. I think she's gonna beat Io for that title, and I think it's gonna be an incredible pop for her. And it's gonna play out well, man. So I'm gonna go with Miss Bailey as my 2024 breakout star.
I love the Bailey call, and it's almost like a re-breakout in some ways for Bailey, but I like couldn't agree more. I do also have to say we have a mountain of awesome comments over on YouTube, on Instagram right now. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate this so much. But we've got this Mailbag Monday thing here, and so for next Monday, send them in advance, guaranteed answered. We got one more question to get through here, and then another one after, and then we'll try to get to as many of the comment questions as we can, because there's a great conversation going on over in both chats, right? And Shad's made a great point here, but yes, tune in, and not only that, tune in tomorrow, the next day, the day after, but Monday. Send those questions in advance, and I promise you they will guaranteed be answered. We'll answer as many as we can though today. Bret, your question is up next, which is, who would you guys like to see be a champion on the main roster and NXT in 2024? And this is from our good friend Bobby Petito. Bobby,
all right, Bobby.
B910. Who would you like to see?
All right, Bobby.
As a champion on the main roster from NXT.
Hopefully, I don't let you down here right here, Bobby, because I know you're an avid listener. I see you as a daily viewer every single day. So I'm gonna try to do my best here right now. I think his first name is Frazier. I want Frazier to be
Nathan Frazier.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nathan Frazier. I just didn't want to get it wrong. Nathan Frazier is an amazing talent, and I see him being a top talent in the upcoming year. But to be completely honest with you, I think this has been in the works for quite some time. And I think his time is finally coming because he's getting some TV time. His dad is over there now. Charlie Dempsey. I want him to be the new champion in this upcoming year. Whatever, I'm not giving a timeline. I just want Charlie Dempsey to be the champion. I think he's one of the best wrestlers that NXT has to offer right now.
I think it's a great pick. Charlie Dempsey's a fun one as could be. I think that's a fun as could be answer too. And
Wouldn't work
obviously
right now internationally.
his connection with um William Regal. Sorry, that was terrible. I literally just short circuited on air live. But his connection with William Regal, his father, is to me so valuable, and his time and space in NXT is something that I think we're all still intrigued by, the people that watch NXT week in and week out, because he's not been overutilized, but he's also not been underutilized, right? You know, Tuesday night, me and Shad on Off the Air, we don't necessarily mention Charlie Dempsey all the time, but
I mean, he's doing this whole work in All Japan right now too. They put him in the circuit in All Japan.
There's a reason for that. He's going to be the next Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan. I'm telling you, watch. He's going to be the next big thing in WWE.
So then I do also have to add, before we get into some comments, more comments too on YouTube, Bobby Batista with a great one. He thinks Obafemi will break out in 2024, which
I like that
Bobby.
too.
Oh,
you know me, man. I'm part of the Obafemi coalition, bro.
Obafemi fan. Anthony Manzano in agreement as well. Future champion Obafemi. And then Manzano also added Raquel Rodriguez, which I don't mind at all. Raquel Rodriguez is a physical talent. Is hard
they gotta find a character
deny.
for her, though, man.
Okay.
Her character work is a little bland.
It's the gimmick. She can't just come out in a suit and just be like, hey, I'm big.
So then let's get into our last question of the night really quickly. And then we'll still have some time to answer everything over on Instagram and everything on YouTube comments wise. So keep bringing them in, my friends. Let's talk about what is next for Maxwell Jacob Friedman. This question is from our good friend, Melissa Robinson 05. Shout out, Melissa, by the way. Happy New Year. But what is next for Maxwell Jacob Friedman? And is it the WWE? I am going to toss this one to you first, Shad. What's next?
I do not think Max is signing the WWE. I truthfully feel like he has inked a deal with AEW. I mentioned it last week. You just read that Players Tribune article. You see how much of importance and how much groundwork he's proud of what has been built with AEW. And I feel that he still views that he's got a lot more to do with it, with just the fact that he's coming off of a historical reign for him, one of the better AEW title reigns. On top of the fact that they're a promotion that is so young and they're continuing to build. I feel like he wants to be the anchor for that. I feel like he wants to be that top guy and welcome, future stars that are being built up, as well as new stars that are coming into the fold as the company builds year upon year. Will he eventually find his way in WWE? He might, but he's got the benefit of being at a young prime age. He's in his mid to late 20s. People are doing this to their mid to late 40s at this point, right? So he can cover it, at max 20 more years, no pun intended. So I feel like that he is going to stay. What's next for him? I think he's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. I'm gonna take his word in a sense where I feel like he may be coming off injuries. He has been working at a high rate for AEW. He may need to get some things cleaned up on his body, take care of his body, and he'll probably come back around the time when we go closer to All In. And he may want to get his lick back on Adam Cole. They already have ready set feuds tied to that. So I think we'll see Max chilling for a little bit, and then he'll come back once it gets into the heavy season for AEW. Because, like I said, I think Tony Khan is the type of dude that's gonna hand that man a blank check and say, "Write your price. I'm not letting you walk out this door." He saw Cody walk out the door. He's paying the price on that still to this day. He let Jade walk out the door. We haven't seen Jade obviously debut in WWE yet, but we can only, you know, father off of the what she's gonna become on WWE off the fact that we're seeing the women's division take a little bit of a hit not having her as well. So I think TK is gonna definitely work to bring MJF back if he hasn't already.
I could not agree more. And not only that, Dennis D over in the comments, exactly as he always does, Shad spitting facts all day long. I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, I personally believe that he's staying, but Bret, I want to get your thoughts on MJF's contract status with AEW. What do you think? Is there any shot he heads to WWE, or is he paying off this devil storyline?
He's paying off this devil storyline, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. It's going to come back to it. He's going to take some time off right now. He's going to evaluate his options, but I know for a fact that TK is not going to let what happened last time to MJF happen again on the air, especially, or in public eye. So they either are working something out behind closed doors or they are going to, because Max is not very recognized by the WWE fan base right now as much as Cody was before he even went in there. So if he did go into WWE, people would still not almost know exactly who he was or is, even though he was the champion for so long over at AEW. So I do believe that, like you said, Clark or Shad, I think he's going to stay in AEW and make a staple for himself there, almost like Ric Flair did in NWA. But I think there is a way for him to get to WWE. Do I think it makes sense right now? No. I think it might happen within the next 5 years or so. The kid is still young. So, I mean, I just think that he needs to really gain a worldwide fan base other than just the WWE fan base, AEW fan base. I'm sorry.
I totally agree. And not only that, further get that guaranteed money while it's hot off the press, my friend. I think that's what they're calling the blue money these days. At least the kids are. But Anthony Ricciardi, head of opinions. Gotta ask your opinion. What's the scoop on hoops with MJF, dude? Where's he going?
About 18 months ago, myself and Kobe had written a piece, and the feeling that him and I had at the time was that it looked like he was probably WWE bound. Now, granted, it was 18 months ago. We said in there a lot can change. A lot has changed. So as much as I thought at that time the odds were in the favor of him jumping, I think there's a greater chance of him staying now. But as long as pen is not to paper, assuming he is not signed, there's always a possibility. And I think the wild card there, if he's not signed, may be Cody Rhodes. We know how close he is with Cody. If he's looking for Cody for advice, you don't know which way Cody's going to lead him. Granted, I don't know if he signed. No one other than probably Max and Tony probably know whether or not he signed or not. But I do think that there's a greater chance that he returns to AEW. It's probably going to be a while. But until he does, there's going to be speculation, especially if he doesn't appear on AEW TV by the time the Rumble rolls around. People are going to think, oh, he's going to show up at the Rumble. I mean, in theory, if he's not under contract, he could show up on Raw tonight, in theory. But I think there's a greater chance of him going back to AEW.
I like that. I hear where you're coming from. And here's my take. And I've said it for a long time. I said it on this show ages ago. And this is no knock on Max. But it doesn't make sense for him not to have re-signed. Strike while the iron's hot. And actually employ the bidding war in 2 years after creating his own generational wealth, essentially his own lock and key as far as his financial situation is concerned, working less time and being a 29-year-old free agent with a decade worth of being the potential of being a main eventer in WWE in order to get more money as far as sponsorships are concerned out of the gates as far as action figures, merchandise, all of that is concerned. You look at Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes solved his financial situation. Then he went to WWE, and we've got every action figure for Cody you've ever seen. The guy is rolling in that. For Max, for financial security, in my eyes, and this is complete reckless speculation, you stay with AEW for 2 more years, and then you have the bidding war. Because now all of a sudden you have your nest egg. So you can negotiate from an entirely different perspective in the heart of your prime. And not only that, you have creative autonomy on the other side in a way that perception would say you would not have if you do make the jump. And that's why I truly believe Maxwell Jacob Friedman is not only staying in AEW, but has already signed. We don't do spoilers. I cannot wait till they hit the entrance music and he makes his return in AEW, because this story needs to be told on television if done properly. And that's the key to the entire operation. Because as sure as I am, not 100% sure. And the more it feels like that, the better from a storytelling perspective, at least in my eyes. That's my humble opinion on this subject in particular. Let's dive in to the comments section, though. Here it is, Mailbag Monday. We've got plenty more to answer. Anthony Manzano here added that he believes that Maxwell Jacob Friedman has financial stability in WWE. Clark, I disagree with you. He can be the face of the company right away once Roman starts transitioning away to Hollywood. If he can't pass a physical with an injured shoulder, they don't have to pay him until he can. So that would be my retort for that.
There's too many. There's a lot of what ifs in that comment, though. Like we're speculating that Roman is just going off to Hollywood. When is that going to happen?
And Max isn't going to jump ahead of people that are already there. He's not jumping ahead of Cody. Like, let's be real. He's not doing that.
Punk. So at this rate, Roman's going to take. At this rate, yeah. Well, at this rate, Roman is going to take Bruno Sammartino's reign.
He's not taking Bruno's record. Come on, Bret. Let's be real. He's not holding the belt for another 6 years. Come on.
Okay, this is actually really fun. So first, really quick, shout out Chris Leclerc. Thank you so much for Happy New Year as well. But Numero and Superfly had a great comment here. This might sound so far out there, and yes, it does, but no knock, because I like the hypothetical here. I kind of want MJF to appear both in WWE and then sign with AEW as a way to troll with both companies, maybe pulling a Rick Rude. Honest to goodness, I love the Rick Rude reference, and I love the fantasy idea. I hate to say it, I do still believe that, unfortunately, that is a fantasy idea. I think in today's day and age, it's not totally possible.
WWE will never allow him on air if he's not under contract. The reason the Rick Rude one happened was Raw was taped and Nitro was live. Mm-hmm. So that's why he was able to appear on both shows.
So I got to throw this in here too while we're here. Ayush Tripathi, Unique King, did ask the question earlier about the Shield rejoining the WWE.
No.
John Moxley and Dean Ambrose's position, this has got to be years out, my friend. He signed a 5-year deal.
Roman Reigns is not going to AEW, man.
That's not a spoiler. That's like commonly reported. He's under contract with AEW for the next 4.5 years.
And Seth is well on his own too.
It's just unfortunately it's not a choice.
The most likely is the Hall of Fame. That's the next time you're going to see the three of them together. That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it won't happen on AEW television.
No, absolutely not. If anything, it's going to happen WWE.
I would put a lot of money on that. Like, I can never see Roman Reigns leaving WWE.
He's not.
Seth, I don't see him leaving WWE either. But you never know what can happen in regards to that. But Roman, not a chance. He's the face of the friend, like of the company.
It's like The Rock and John Cena.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then we've got another comment here over on Instagram from White Catastrophe, which is, they would have to massively change his character in WWE. This is about MJF. He's found his way in AEW at the minute, and I do think that is a valid comment. I think the storytelling part of it is a little bit overlooked as far as much as we love the show because we do watch in week in and we tune in week in and week out to both WWE, AEW, not both, all of them, right? TNA, Impact, New Japan, everything, right?
Mhm.
The idea that just the creative part is the key is I think there's other factors at play. That hurt shoulder, it's such a risk to let your contract run out at his age. I mean, we're looking at a guy that remember what we were talking about in the summer of 22 when it comes to Max, right? Max was yelling at his boss, called him, an F word mark.
Yeah,
on live television.
Yeah.
And then returned likely over a financial situation. If that was solved, the idea that it was solved in regards to your contract still expires January 1st, 24, it's really hard to fathom for me.
He's not going to have
Professionally
as much.
speaking.
He's not going to have as much creative freedom to cut promos as he does in WWE because it is geared more to a kid-friendly audience. But it doesn't mean it depends what you like, right? If you like him for that, edginess, how he's able to,
Yeah.
use low-hanging fruit with the
Yeah.
insults and all of that, then you're probably not gonna like it as much. But it doesn't mean he can't grow into a different character if hypothetically he did go to WWE. But at the end of the day, it's preference.
I agree. He's a once in a generation talent, and I think he can make anything work. So I don't have concerns of will he sink or swim if he went to WWE. I think he'd be fine.
He also doesn't need to wrestle for the first however many months if he's there because he has so much more talent other than wrestling.
With them,
Yes.
promos and stuff.
There's another comment over here though on Instagram. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I saw you freeze for a second.
I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, my friend, but Anna Marika 3, the only reason they want Rhodes to defeat Reigns to be the first father and son WWE champions.
No.
Dusty Rhodes never won the WWE title or the WWF title.
That's the story. It's the
That's
fact
story,
that
right?
never held it.
The point of the story is that his father never won it. He's the best that never won it. That's the entire story.
Yes.
I just, if you missed that, I apologize, dude. But that's kind of the scoop on
offense.
hoops there.
Bobby had a question in the comments too.
Yeah, he did, and I was gonna show that just now. Who would you guys like to see? Camille and Jacob Fatu, or would you guys like to see Camille and Jacob Fatu appear in the Royal Rumble match?
Yes. I completely overlooked Camille, honestly. I would have said that if I had thought more thoroughly before about the women's side, but I definitely think Camille would be an amazing addition to WWE, but she'd be a better addition to AEW.
Thing is this. So WWE has an audience that is a lot like us, where we watch and are familiar with different wrestlers from different promotions, but they also have a very niche audience that only views WWE television, where she's not going to get a big reaction coming to the Royal Rumble. It would probably be less of a reaction maybe to like a NXT superstar coming. Jacob Fatu, it's probably more or less going to be the thing. Now, would I like to see them both be in WWE and become growing stars on there? Of course. I think Jacob Fatu is someone I've been wanting to see on WWE television for the longest time now. I think you have a ready, set star, especially tied to the bloodline. And Camille, no different. I wouldn't mind seeing Camille go to AEW as well because she's wrestled there before, and they could use a heavy to replace Jade. But either or, I would like to see them. I wouldn't be mad at them on WWE.
I think Camille's best chance is probably the Knockouts division in TNA. With them possibly losing Deanna, it would make sense. You can kind of build around her. Now, she does have one WWE connection, which is Nick Aldis. She was his China, essentially, in NWA. So it's a possibility they would bring her in, but I don't think she would debut in the Rumble.
I love it. Okay, with
That was
that,
a good call.
unfortunately, Happy New Year, everyone. This does bring us to the end of the show. Please send in more questions and comments for next week's Mailbag Monday. More importantly, just keep commenting and we'll answer all of them on the daily broadcast. We'll be back same time, same place. If you're on the West Coast like me, of America, that is, I guess. That'll be at noon Pacific tomorrow. We'll be at 3:00 Eastern. We're gonna be at 8:00 in the UK. Anthony Manzano, I see your comment there. Unfortunately, we don't have time. We got to get out of here. But we really appreciate you. We will answer those later. Everybody, if you haven't liked, subscribed, please do. It really helps us out. And please have a happy new year and enjoy your time with your family and everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see everybody for the rest of 2024. Happy 2024. And have a good one on behalf of Anthony, Bret, and Shad, and me, Clark Taylor. Everybody have an awesome New Year's Day and enjoy yourself with family, hopefully. And if you don't, just try.